Fight fans, fight fans, fight fans. Happy Cinco de Mayo. I'm here to talk about boxing. I'm here to talk about Gennady Golovkin. I'm here to talk about the second round destruction of Vanes Martirosyan. Look, first of all, man, this shit made it seem like a Tyson fight. And I was telling everybody where I saw the fight. I was like, hey, don't blink. Don't go nowhere. Don't go take a piss. Don't do anything. Don't go outside and take a phone call or nothing like that. Because this fight's going to be over quick. I was expecting a body shot, but what I saw did not surprise me. Because when you pick a guy that's bad to the bone, that labels himself the Nightmare, he's here to fight. Like I said in my early video earlier today, this morning, or yesterday morning or whatever, I told you that, Vanes is a guy that he likes to trade shots. He's proud, okay? He's a warrior by his own right, but what ain't right is what happened to him in the second round, because that is exactly what happened to him when Golovkin started throwing those punches. And then, see, it was like similar to Kell Brook. Kell Brook started, Kell Brook lasted at least 5 rounds, but Kell Brook was a mover. He had a certain game plan, stick and move, pot shot, throw a hard 2 or 3 punches every so often to get the crowd going, like they are in, vicious in the UK, with their savagery and their, and their, and their heightened energy for the love of the sport. But he made Golovkin mad. See, Martirosyan, Vanes, he came in, he threw a right, and then he surprised Golovkin with a left, and it got Golovkin's attention. Really what it did was, I'm just saying that in a way, that another way of saying it pissed him off. It pissed Golovkin off to get hit with that punch, and I figure it was a matter of time. Vanes Martirosyan is a tough guy, but they know Vanes Martirosyan is there to fight. He's not there to survive. He's there to throw punches. Anybody that's not there to survive and to throw punches, coming from where Vanes Martirosyan is coming from, is looking to get knocked out, and that's exactly what happened. This is expected to happen in this particular fight. You know what I'm saying? So the knockout streaks begin again, like Max Kellerman said, this is one. Okay. But I'm glad Vanes Martirosyan is okay. He said that, that Golovkin is the hardest it's the hardest guy he ever been hit by. And that makes sense. I mean, where has he been? He's been at 154. He's been fighting Lara, Charlo, Andrade. You know what I mean? He hasn't been in there with a guy with the punching power of Golovkin. Okay, so yes, it's supposed to surprise him. And he beat the will out of this kid. This guy didn't a guy that comes to fight, he's not instinctively going to grab, hold, do the things that a survivor would. He's doing the things that an attacker would. You know what I mean? And that's what he did. You seen he threw a left, okay? He threw a left hook, and he tried to rebuttal and counter Golovkin's punch, but he couldn't do that. By that time he was already hurt. You know what I'm saying? So he could have kept his guard up, right? When Golovkin was throwing the right, he didn't. He tried to go for a left, and unfortunately, the spirit that he has, the way he is to attack is his downfall. These guys, Vanes Martirosyan was carefully picked out of an array of fighters. He could have fought Andrade, because Andrade called him out. That should have been the next fight. At least you would have got Andrade out there and shut him up. Shut him up if you can, But this fight probably would have just ended in a damn split decision or something. They asked Golovkin why are the knockouts coming all of a sudden? Why, what are the difference between this fight and the other two? The competition's stupid. He knew that. People ask certain questions, they already know the answers are. It kills me. You know, and I know he was trying to be slick shit, Max Kellerman, for asking those questions. You know what I mean? Like, oh, well, why is this competition? Why were you able to knock out Vanes Martirosyan and not the other two? Because the other two fighters are world-class fighters that are potential future Hall of Fame fighters like Canelo Alvarez and Danny Jacobs. That's why. Shit, he knew that already. But he said that and he asked that question to see what Golovkin's going to say. And Golovkin is really, you know, he said, oh, I'm here to fight everybody. I'm here, honestly, I think that they should have an interpreter to come in and go word for word what he actually wants. Because he didn't say, hey, I want Charlo or hey, I want Andrade. He said, I want everybody. That's like some Danny Garcia shit. You don't come there with everybody. Name particular people. They asked him about Canelo. We'll see what happens and all that shit. You know, so that he might be fighting him. He said December. That's what he said. Well, December. Like December. What the fuck? So I hope, so if you're fighting Canelo Alvarez in December, and I know why Canelo Alvarez is fighting in September and December, because he needs to make some more damn money. He needs to catch up with his quota. So, I can understand why he's fighting twice. But Gennady Golovkin, it better be someone with a belt or for the reasons, because again, you don't hear Gennady Golovkin talking about unifying the belts no more. That's the problem. You know what I mean? Because now he's going against, or he's contradicting what his plans were. I know people's plans change, but he's not talking about that no more. So now what you got to ask yourself, okay, what are you in the business for? You're saying you're here to beat everybody, or you want to just be now? Or is it just to beat a record and get the fuck out of Dodge, or what? You know what I mean? Because you can do that by fighting some nobodies, or fighting somebody that's some nobodies, or somebody that's carefully picked it, that won't instinctively know to grab when they get hit, like Vanes Martirosyan. Because Vanes Martirosyan is accustomed to fighting guys like Charlo, Andrade, and Lara. These guys are like float like a butterfly and sting like a bee kind of dudes. And the exception of, Charlo, because Charlo's a little more stationary. But nonetheless, he's not accustomed to that type of comfort, aggression, and power. That's what surprised Vanes today. But is it a surprise that Golovkin is supposed to knock him out? Hell to the no. He was going to do that anyway for somebody coming from 154. You know what I mean? I'm not taking any credit away from Golovkin, but on this channel, okay, I counter all aspects of what someone does. So it's not even about, this isn't the fanboy shit, okay? So if you want a channel that caters to your demographic, by all means, do that. Because Gennady Golovkin should have picked someone that actually was more dangerous. He should have gave the fans more of a show, I feel. He should have gave, like, hey, I can't give you Canelo. You know what I mean? It's just like Mayweather, right? Everybody wanted to see Mayweather and Pacquiao in 13 and 12. Well, not really 12, but 13 because Pacquiao got knocked out on the 7th of December of 2012 by Marquez, right, on their fourth fight. So he couldn't make a fight then, but by the end of that next year, Pacquiao's back. He's doing this, he's doing that. So now everybody wanted to see that fight again, right? He couldn't give people that fight. What did he do? He got the next best thing. He got Canelo Alvarez, Saul Canelo Alvarez. And he fought him, an undefeated fighter, and he beat an undefeated fighter. You know what I mean? So he fed the public something to keep him in the limelight. You know what I'm saying? On top of the Mayweather haters hating him or wishing that he would lose. Okay, cool. More fuel for the fire. Let that shit burn. And because Mayweather's going to make more money. So, that's what Golovkin could have done. You're taking on Vanes Martirosyan. Now you knock a guy out in 2 rounds. You were feeling sorry for the poor bastard, for Christ's sake. Because it's like, okay, he didn't know that a guy was stumping that hard. He didn't know who was coming at him. I don't think he knew what he did or when he signed that contract with Golovkin. He knew, like, hey, I would love to take on the test. But I don't think people really participate or anticipate, rather, a punch like that. aggression like that. You know what I mean? Someone that's going to come forward, that's going to walk through your fucking punches. He's going to take the best punch you got, you know, to do so. So, so I think that he could have fought Andrade like, hey, I can't give you Canelo. I'm sorry for Mexican fans. It's the Cinco de Mayo weekend. You know what I mean? So if I can't give you Canelo, I'm going to give you Andrade, an undefeated fighter that's very dangerous. You know what I'm saying? Something that, because I mean, he's the only guy. No one was Mexican, right? So you can't say, oh, he needed to fight a Mexican. That would have been smarter because I know Mexicans support their fighters, but he didn't do any of that. He picked Vanes Martirosyan, a guy that's been beat by Andrade, a guy that he should have fought. Been beaten by Lara, a guy that called him out 2 years ago. And got beat by Charlo, his brother's trying to call him out, right? You fuck with one of them, you fuck with all of them, really, the Charlos, right? So his 3 losses, now 4, are come to guys that he should have fought, ironically. So that's my problem I have with the pick of Vanes Martirosyan. However, that does not mean the performance was not impressive. The shit looks great. My Facebook post, because, of course I had to get clips of it. You know what I mean? And I have that on Counterpunch Boxing News Facebook if you guys want to check that out. Matter of fact, I'll put a link below, make it easier for you. But again, after the fight's all settled, said and done, Golovkin was supposed to knock that boy out, and and he did. So that was impressive. So it builds his fan base, that gives him confidence because I think Golovkin's more on a mindset because it's not his fault, okay? It's not his fault that Canelo didn't fight him. Canelo dropped out of that fight. And then, that might have, the suspension might have not have been the defining factor, the reason he stepped out, but he stepped out nonetheless. So he had to find an opponent. Okay, so he had found it, you asked for an opponent, he found him one. But I just feel he should have found a more credible one besides a guy with already 3 losses that's coming from a different weight class that's lower than yours. Just keeping it real, guys, because this is what it is. This is exactly what it is. So if Gennady Golovkin says he wants to fight everyone, please do that this year. Please fight Billy Joe, then fight Canelo after that. That would be good. He already fought Jacobs. He fought Lemieux. He fought Canelo the first time. And actually, to keep it real with you, his draw was actually considered a win. You know what I'm saying? Because really, who really wins a decision against Canelo? Really, think about it. So, but anyway, I went there. On it. You know what I'm saying? But I hope he fights Charlo. I hope he fights Andrade. I hope he does that quickly. If he can't get the Billy Joe Saunders fight someone with some credibility that's make you gonna say, I wonder who's gonna win that fight. That it doesn't have 40 to 1 underdog, 40 to 1 odds at the casino right now. You can't make any money on Golovkin knocking out fucking Martirosyan. So those are the things that are all put into place. Then you have endorsements and all this, but nonetheless, he had a good performance. It's expected, but still impressive. You guys tell me about his possibly a next opponent. Who his next opponent will be. And why. Give me some good assessment. Give me some feedback, guys, because we need to figure this shit out. Us as fans of the sport game, of the boxing game, I like Golovkin. I like a lot of fighters for certain reasons. Okay? I don't look at fighters like other people do. They're people at the end of the day. They're not just fighters. People are like, oh, he's a boxer. No, he's a person. He's a father. He's somebody's father. He's somebody's son. Okay? So, nonetheless, Golovkin did a good job. But you guys tell me what you think about this segment. And you guys been counterpunched. Peace.